Hi guys, Mrnewmobile here. Would you go for Apple iPad Air 4 or Apple iPad Pro? Please subscribe followed by the bell. You can also keep up on Facebook, Twitter by clicking the links in the description. New entry-level iPad and a new iPad Air, and the latter series is becoming more Pro-like with every generation. The newest iPad Air series for 2020 takes in a lot of inspiration from the iPad Pro series, and not just in terms of design, but in overall features and performance too. So, exactly what is the difference between the iPad Pro 2020 and the iPad Air 2020? iPad Air 247.6 by 178.5 by 6.1mm iPad Pro 11-inch 247.6 by 178.5 by 5.9mm iPad Pro 12.9-inch 280.6 by 214.9 by 5.9mm iPad Air. Stereo speakers and Touch ID in the power button. iPad Pro. 2nd Gen Apple Pencil and Magic Keyboard support. iPad Air color borrowed heavily from the look of the iPad Pro. It has the same narrow bezel and flat edges and flat back. It looks like an iPad Pro Lite, it just doesn't share the Pro name. Even the dimensions are similar, with the Air featuring identical width and height to the 11-inch Pro. It's only slightly thicker. The 12.9-inch iPad Pro is much larger. It has rose gold, pink, green and sky blue, alongside the silver and space gray options. The Pro series only features silver and space gray. iPad Pro uses Face ID for authentication, where the Air uses a touched fingerprint sensor and the power button at the top, which might actually be more convenient for some. Especially if you're wearing a mask. The Pro does feature better audio though, with a quad speaker system, instead of the iPad Air's Stereo 2 speaker system. Still, all models will sound great in general use. All models support Apple's most recent Pencil, and can clip it magnetically to the side, while wireless charging the accessory. What's more, the iPad Air even supports the latest expensive Magic Keyboard cover with a floating arm. iPad Air 10.9-inch IPS 9-inch IPS display. iPad Air 2360 by 1640 resolution. iPad Pro 11-inch 2388 by 1668 resolution. Both the iPad Air and iPad Pro use Apple's so-called liquid Retina display branding, and the specs aren't far off being the same either. But there are obviously some differences. Look at the exact resolutions and you'll notice they're all different, and none of them is what we'd consider standard resolutions. What it means, however, is that all of them share the exact same pixel density of 264 pixels per inch. Those extra pixels on the 11 and 12.9-inch screens versus the Air's 10.9-inch just ensure there's the same level of detail to the user's eye. With 600 nits of peak brightness, the Pro series displays are brighter than the iPad Air's 500 nits, plus the iPad Pro series features an adaptive frame rate technology that goes as high as 120 Hz 120 frames per second. That means smoother graphics and a more responsive feel for those times you're using the Pencil. All tablets have the anti-reflective screen and boast the same wide color gamut support. iPad Air A14 Processor new 5nm process. iPad Pro A12Z Bionic processor and embedded M12 coprocessor. Battery up to 10 hours from all models. iPad Air ships with 20W power adapter. iPad Pro ships with 128GB, 256GB, 512GB and 1TB storage options. With the iPad Air, Apple introduced a brand new processor called the A14 Bionic. It's based on a new 5nm process, meaning there's a lot of tiny transistors all over it, and it features both a 6-core CPU and a 4-core GPU. As for the iPad Pro, Apple equipped the tablet with an A12Z Bionic chip, and that features an 8-core CPU and 8-core GPU. That means the GPU has double the cores of the iPad Air, which makes sense, since the display it's driving has a faster refresh rate, and so it needs to deliver faster graphics. Apple doesn't typically publish clock speeds, and so it's not easy to compare the specs. When it comes to storage, iPad Pro has the upper hand and offers twice as many options. The lowest capacity is 128GB, but you can also go as high as 512GB and 1TB with the iPad Pro. iPad Air has two options: 64GB and 256GB. Both iPad Air and iPad Pro feature USB Type-C ports that can be hooked up to external drives, dongles and external monitors, up to 4K resolution. As with virtually every iPad since the dawn of the tablet in 2010, Apple is promising 10 hours of usage from a full charge from the iPad Air and iPad Pro series. Both the iPad Air and 11-inch iPad Pro feature a 28.6 watt-hour battery, while the 12.9-inch Pro features a larger 36.71 watt-hour. However, the 20W power adapter that comes with the Air is more powerful than the 18W adapter that comes with the Pro models and means the Air will charge a tiny bit faster with the adapter that ships in the box. As for wireless performance, the two series of iPads have cellular versions as well as just Wi-Fi models, and that means triple camera rear, 7MP true depth front, 12MP main camera, 10MP ultra wide, 2x telephoto zoom. When it comes to camera versatility, there's only really one winner here, and that's the iPad Pro. It has a triple camera system on the back made up of a main 12-megapixel camera and a 10-megapixel ultra wide and 2x telephoto zoom lens. Plus it has that lighter system for depth perception and Arkansas shenanigans. iPad Air has the same 12-megapixel main camera, but that's the only camera it has. Like the Pro, however, it can shoot in 4K resolution and arguably with cameras not being of huge importance on tablets, you might just decide all those extra lenses and sensors don't make any difference to the way you use the tablet. iPad Air starts at $599. iPad Pro 11-inch starts at $799. iPad Pro 12.9-inch starts at $999. It's when you compare prices that it's likely you'll make your final purchase decision. Looking at all the similarities and differences, the lower 500s. As for the iPad Pro, the smaller model is $799, £769 for the cheapest, lowest storage model without cellular. But if you opt for the larger 12.9-inch model, the price soon pushes near the $1,000 £1,000 mark, and that's when it becomes more a decision of whether or not this is just a tablet as an entertainment device or one that you use as a laptop replacement. The iPad Air will offer most people everything they would hope to get from a Pro tablet. It offers so many of the features we've seen adopted by the iPad Pro range, and the processor inside is powerful. That means for those whose only concerns are whether it does the same things as the iPad Pro, it will be more than adequate. Of course, the iPad Pro does have a few benefits. Like the fact it comes in the larger 12.9-inch size for those who want a bigger screen. It also has a brighter screen with a faster refresh rate. That means for those who love the ultra-smooth animations and almost completely lag-free pencil responses, it'll still be the Pro that draws the eye. There's also facete and more cameras. We suspect for most people the iPad Air is the better choice. See you on my next video. Peace out.